Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. I am now live in the third episode of live gameplay of Fallstreak PC version, Steam version, whatever you want to call it. This is a visual novel. I'm going to be playing this totally live in about 6 or 7 episodes. It's going to take me like 10 hours to complete. That is going to be it, probably. So yeah, this is... Yesterday I played this game for only 1 hour because I was kind of feeling tired and sleepy. But today I'm going to be doing this for the full... No, I'm going to be doing this for 1.5 hours today. Because still I got less time to do stuff. I have yet to play another game as well. So yeah, that is how it's going to go down. Let's go and see what's going on Facebook because I want to share my screen. Hold on. It is not even loading, so I'm just gonna leave that behind. We are gonna be doing our random stuff now. Hold on. Let's do this. Bruh, why is it loading? Alright, I'm sharing the stream right now. I hope it's done quite well. Save. Damn. Alright, that is it. That is all of the marketing for the video, I guess. I am just gonna continue the video from now. Hold on, let's remove this line call. Okay, let's take this server. Alright, we are gonna share the video on our Discord server and then we're gonna be done for today. I mean, sharing our stream for today. I don't wanna waste like half of my stream sharing it and not playing anything at all. Hold on, let the Discord app open. Finally. Alright, let it load up. My CPU is so bad. I have no idea where it's go. Yogesh, give me a shout out to Yogesh. Give me a oh. Lol. Comedy. Why shout out? Sorry. अरू त कोही आउँछ जस्तो छैन के पक्कै पनि ओके हो दुईटा तिनटा भ्युअर पनि बस्ने ओए तीन वाचिङ रे वाह what is that 3 watching welcome to the stream guys welcome to the stream Hold on, let me share it in my server. Back again. Oops. That's a bit upload. Okay, alright. Let's really fly it. Oops. A bit missed it there. Alright, that is out of the way. Back to one person watching. Fine. Okay. Right, it's done. That is it, and I'm closing Discord. That is it. Let's do this. Alright, load the game from yesterday's save file, and we're here. All I knew was the day we commemorated her death was the same as my birthday. Damn. My 10th birthday coincides with the 10th anniversary of her death. So she died on the day she was born? Damn, that should be sad. Mother story ended and mine was done. So she died while giving birth to Adelise. That is tragic. A face I did not know, but one I've always longed to touch and behold. Sometimes I want to imagine a face coming alive, laughing when reading something funny or crying when something sad. But I can't. Sheesh. Alright, cyanide, you got that. Alright. Because to me, she doesn't have a face. Even Papa is afraid her face is fading from his mind's eye. For me though, Mother does not exist as a person. Mother did not exist as a person. Having never known of her, she was nothing more than a nebulous concept, a vague warmth that I could not give form to, no matter how much I wished it. The only form of connection I had with her were these books. Why? Why won't you tell me anything, Papa? I feel very shy. It's about the time I call it a day. I'll sleep here tonight as well. Sometimes I wonder if the blankets and pillows here seem more used than the ones in my actual bedroom. Extinguishing the nearby candles, I retreat under my covers and stare up at the dark ceiling. I guess Kalia was right about me being a book-inhaling brain slug. With a little chuckle, I poop an imaginary Kalia on my nose before shutting my eyes to the world. A sudden restlessness always pervades the air the day the schools go off school before the weekend. But today was even livelier than usual. Yep, definitely looks livelier than usual. Crack, smash. Yay, bridge breaking. My bridge finally broke, said Lenny. You're not supposed to want your bridge to break, dummy, said Annabelle. Narao was like, well, looks like we have our last two contestants, Adelise and the little twins, of course, because they were the main protagonists of the story. Of course, that is going to be the case. That is a pretty gutsy design, eh? Said Kalia. Suspension bridges are tricky to build. Guess you've done your fair share of research, too. Indeed. Though the tension fields the suspension bridges utilize were known for their highly efficient weight to load bearing ratio, working with them had been a great source of headache throughout the day. Looks like you went with the truss bridge. A pretty safe choice for risk-taking the twins. It's all about the fundamentals when it comes to this kind of thing, said Kalia. Heh, it's already clear at this point who the winners will be. Wonder what kind of prize we'll be receiving. Sure, I want to declare the victory so prematurely? I'll make your upcoming loss things much more. Just as the two of us square off and start laying down the trash talk, Trish suddenly belches loudly and completely ruining the mood. Damn, don't do that, Trish. I was worried as well. Ah, Trish. Could you be any more uncool? In the final stage, we will simultaneously add weights to each bridge at regular intervals until we get to last bridge standing. Are the finalists ready? The class cheers as the promised time arrives at last. Let's do this. Me and Trish will be the ones taking home the win today. The only thing you'll be taking home is the remnants of your trust. Sadness. Interesting. Who will be the ones to claim today's special prize? Will it be the plucky lyric twins or the cunning Adelise? The time has come to determine the winner of today's bridge construction contest. This is it, the final showdown. The three of us watch over our bridges intently as intimidating new masses are added to the already sweltering payloads. Each time they successfully withstand the mounting pressure, our breaths of relief resound through the tense classroom which had fallen unnervingly silent compared to its previous commotion. Methodically, slowly, our bridges are placed under such duress that frames begin to deform from the strain. Time seems to slower to the crawl as the four bodies feel that the upcoming wait would be the moment of truth grips me. Then, just as the weight in question is added, why, Kalia is surprised. The sound of splintering wood echoes through the air as someone's bridge finally gives in. Sock silence swelled up in the room at that deciding instant. A single voice spoke. A conclusion has been reached. The winner is the Lyric Twins. So everyone is happy because Adelise has lost. The room explodes in cheers and cries at the declaration of the victor. No, it can't be true. I gazed down in disbelief upon the remnants of my sweet doll. Creation and destruction, such from sea and beauty. I knew it could have come to this, and yet it still wounds me. With the swagger of undisputed champion, Galia utters the ultimate words of victory. Good game! Easy! As a decisive winner, would you care to elaborate on your success to the class, Galia? What do you think was the most important thing to keep in mind in regards to design decisions? If there's one thing that should have been the center of focus, it was the rule that all bridges must be under a certain weight limit. Though your bridge really did have a steady weight to load during ratio 8, it didn't approach the weight limit that was given for the contest. I noticed that as well, but it was difficult for me to do anything about it. That's because suspension bridges are tough to reinforce after their first build. It's hard for you to do much with the vehicle room you end up with it if it doesn't reach the cap right away. I see. Then can you tell why you two chose the design that you did? Chris and I decided that a truss bridge was the best design for taking advantage of the limit. Truss bridges are made almost all out of triangles, which are the simplest and strongest shape. Triangles are strong because they are hard to deform. Like if you push on the corner of a square, you can easily turn it into another shape, like a rhombus, right? But if you put a single diagonal bar inside a square and basically turn it into two triangles, it becomes really hard to change its shape. Also, since triangles are the simplest shape, with only 3 sides, it's easy to reinforce the truss bridge. The triangle is needed for central building block in construction. It appears you are learning much from your father, a thin lyric. Chris did a good job trimming weight off parts that we didn't need. We used a lot of smart tricks like using the smallest amount of glue possible to connect the bridge parts. This was done by using a dab of glue and bind the clips to make sure it attached strongly. At the end of the day, the project was all about milking as much as you could out of the bridge weight limit. Lerona says, "Wow, you two make such a cool team when you work together. It's definitely why you won." As much as it pains to concede defeat, I can't deny the groundwork is impressively well thought out. Guess my bridge couldn't handle the suspense. Well played, you two. That's Adelise. And Kalia says, "Heh, I'm pretty sure our bridge could hold even more if we wanted to." Perhaps wanting to test the point, Chris reaches out and gingerly wraps the bridge with his knuckle, causing it to instantly collapse. Ah, it's rough. Says Nalita. Kalia is in embarrassment. Not even close, baby. Says Kalia. Edging over to block the scene with her body, Kalia gives Trish a stomp on the foot for good measure as he stands dumbfounded with his hand still suspended in midair. Somehow, I feel really tired all of a sudden, says Adelise. While losing on the cusp of glory makes me somewhat salty, I have to admit their methods were on point. This goes to show the value of being taught by someone with experience over simply reading about it in a book. As promised, I will now award you your prize. With the light movements characteristic to handling something delicate, Mr. Lau unveils something from his phallus and lowers into Tristan's hands. Murmurs of awe could be heard as the class hurriedly crowded around the object in question. This is an ornamental hairclip created from the blazing orange feathers of a phoenix oriole, as phoenix thought to have gone extinct until the fire collapsed. It's like it's on fire, burning up. Yeah, it's phoenix. What should you expect? No. Okay, let me save it once again. I have stuff to do though. Mr. Narao always gets the coolest things, says Penny. And Kalia says nothing. But while the class was clearly enraptured, one person alone seemed detached from the clamor. A person whose reaction you'd expect to be yelling at Trish let her see it already. But instead, she gazes unwordlessly from a distance. However, Kristen appears to notice her. Taking the feathered adornment in hand, he sidles up to her sister with an indiscreet motion, flips it onto her head. "What are you doing all of a sudden?" says Kalia. But Trish smiles dumbly in response. Heh, do you remember, Trish? The bedtime story she once told us? The story of the rainbow crow. What? Without a hint of hesitation, Trish nods. You know, right? Even though it wasn't true, she wanted to let us know of a happy ending. That's why we had to. With all we got, we have to. A girl who couldn't take hold of anything even as it lay right before her, and a boy who couldn't make his unspoken heart heard. It was a scene that captured the essence of the relationship between the lyric twins. Just as Kalia acted as Trish's voice when he could not voice himself, Trish acted as Kalia's hands when she could not reach out. It was a nuanced bond one would never guess at how they were always messing around with each other. We did it, Trish. Don't get too smug though. This is just the beginning. Slightly smiling faintly, they lightly bumped heads for the forehead fight. Not so hard, dummy. Yet again, okay. Somehow it's really heartwarming, says Serena, but her facial expression doesn't sound that way. Doesn't look that way. Me too, says Serena. Thumbs up and blah. Ding ding ding. Okay, they are seeing stars in the daylight now. It appears that in her enthusiasm to join her forward fight session, the Lerona missile has knocked the Laird twins out of the commission. Why don't you ever give Big Sis Lerona forehead fights? It's not fair. Blub blub blub, says. What does that mean? I have no idea. Hey, Zero, hello. What's up? I think the answer to the question is self-evident. So, sibling love is not something to be underestimated. Kalia, Trish, they make me proud. They've come such a long way from the dark place they were in 2 years ago. Alright, class, so it's been an eventful day. It's not over yet. We have quite a bit to clean up. Everything has to be squeaky clean if you want to get the real fun. An air of unrest pervaded the room as students ran about tidying things up to the best of their ability. But the reason was far from being because everyone was anticipating being let out for the day. Rather, everyone was looking forward to staying as long as they possibly could. Wow, now the moment which you've all been waiting for. With Arena at his side, Mr. Narao gestures over to the iconic palace. Games Day, says everyone. Everyone shouts out in chorus as Arena flips open the palace. A flurry of balloons floods all out at once, blanketing the floor of the school. Not even the ceiling was spared as dozens of helium-filled ones flew into the air. That thing was really living up to its reputation as a whole to another dimension. For today's game, we will be playing a special version of Capture the Flag inspired by an event yesterday that no one will speak of. The class will be divided into teams of players, 2 teams of players. Each player will have a balloon tied around their waist that signifies their life. If the balloon is popped, such as by an opposing team member, you will be counted as being slain. After your balloon is popped, you cannot rejoin the game until you return to your team base and acquire another balloon from your team's allotted stockpile. The objective is to force the enemy team to deplete the balloon supply while protecting your own. Additionally, each team base will have special flags that can be captured by enemy teams. A successful capture means the opposing team must pop 10 of the balloons in the stockpile. Is there anything else you'd like to know? What do we get for winning? Says everyone, more rapt attention than any lecture he could ever hope to give. The class screams out in unison. First off, a team will be counted as losing if all the balloons worn and stored on its side are popped. A losing team must accept the punishment of inhaling helium until their voice becomes squeaky. Once that is done, the other team gets the exclusive right of dictating what must be voiced during that duration. Everyone quivered at the possibility of being forced to endure such a humiliation, yet at the same time there was no denying the tantalizing prospect of reveling in the shame of the defeated. I will now announce the teams, said Mr. Narao. After Mr. Narao finishes assigning the teams, I quickly survey what we have to work with. On my team, the blue team were Tristan, Verona, and Nolita, along with Lemmy and Annabelle. I vote to make 8 our team captains, said Verona. The moment we assemble, Verona immediately makes a suggestion. Looking around, I see everyone nodding in approval. Leave it to me, said Adelise. I nod back, emboldened by everyone's unwavering confidence in me. Foremost at my thoughts were how to deal with the red team's aces, Gallia and Arena. One might think our team would be an advantage of the armless Gallia and unseen Arena, but they were far from correct. Gallia was an unmatched speed demon that could run in circles around us without getting caught, with her mobility allowing her to switch between attacking and defending quickly. The only thing that gated her was the senior team support to secure objectives. As for Arena, I was convinced she was a bad assassin because when she got heated up, she moved more like someone who could see an additional dimension rather than nothing. Arena's physical capabilities were also out of this world, with there being little doubt she could take anyone in straight one-on-one. That being said, she was the other extreme from Gallia, being unable to maneuver around the battlefield too well with her vision impairment. Though her anti-personnel was fearless, she lacked the offensive presence in regards to win conditions like raiding stockpiles and capturing flags, meaning we'd likely find her on base defense. As for on our team, we had Triss, a slower but more prudent departure from Gallia, whose aggressive nature and quickness made him ideal for bridging. Nolita, on the other hand, was cool-headed and resilient, with her sluggish speed making her more suited to holding down the fort. Lastly, Lerona didn't have any noteworthy strength on her own, but her aptitude for working on a team was difficult to overstate. She always seemed to have a good dose for covering teammates when they got themselves in a pinch, which made her synergize well with risk takers like Triss or Gallia. After breaking down on strengths and weaknesses, I assembled a strike team of 3 consisting Lerona, Triss, and me, with Nolita, Annabelle, and Lemmy making up the face of the scene. Everyone knows the role, right? Let's go out there and do some damage. I say that, and breaking from a huddle with a battle cry, I look over at the red team to see how they're faring. Just to confirm, the balloons are positioned around everyone's lower back, correct? That's right, just give it a nice kick and it should go fast. A toothy grin could be seen on Callie's face as he warmed up by kicking the air around to see what at someone's eye level. What would be someone's eye level? Well, that's something to look forward to. Who's ready to win? Turning back to my team, I stretch my hand to the air to rally them. We are, says Lerona and Tristan. Morale was already skyrocketing through the roof. I think they didn't make any character for like Annabelle and the other character. Who was that? I forgot the name of the character. Lenny or something? Lenny? Yeah. Morale was already skyrocketing through the roof. Unable to contain our energy any longer, we will rush outside the school building to set up base for upcoming class. As we do, I begin to give up more detailed directives regarding our lineup. Tactical command of base defense will fall on Nolita. Nolita has a flag and stockpile on separate locations, so make sure at least one person is spotting each at all times. Assign the quickest person to pressure relief should one location get focused down. Okay. This method was necessary since I'd be concentrating my attention on directly the strike field. Tell us what to do, Nolita, said Lemmy. Annabelle says, we won't let them through. Tristan, I want you to be the strike team's vanguard. Don't make any attempts on objectives unless I order it. Just concentrate on picking someone up on the best defense, unless you poke. Once you poke a hole in the enemy's defense, I'll direct how we can push in. Trish shivers with excitement as he takes a deep breath and nods. The Lyrics strive under the high pressure of spearheading assault, jumping on opponents the moment they showed a window of vulnerability. It was very much a high-risk, high-reward form of approach, which was why the support savvy Lerona was invaluable for safety, securing any leverage we generated. Lerona, be sure to stick close to Trish so you can follow up on his takedowns and back him up if you get blindsided. Okay, says Lerona, be prepared to commit a full-on assault at my signal. After going over defensive contingencies should our base be overrun, I turned to survey the battlefield. Our strike team was a high concentrated one. Rather than spending out our attackers, it aimed to overwhelm and spilled into one section of the enemy's base. As such, it was good for surgical strikes and maintaining offensive momentum should even a single defensive rampart fall. The main reason I selected this team composition was because it was well equipped at avoiding arena and attacking the areas he wasn't defending. This squad did have its share of weaknesses, so it was easier for the enemy to surround us and had a weak ambient background for presence for deterring attacks or relieving pressure on our base. A lot depended on Nolita's base defense to hold the line for the strategy to be successful. Upon completing our preparations, we lined up to face the red team's camp. Seeing that both sides are ready for action, Mr. Naro lifts his hand to announce the commencement of the game. One last thing before we begin. There is a trump card hidden somewhere on the battlefield. Before his hand descends, though, a devilish smile plays over Mr. Naro's face as he inserts a sudden addendum to the game. Whoever discovers this trump card will be granted a powerful advantage. If you find your team on the verge of defeat, search for this trump card to turn the tide of the battle. That's our teacher for you, adding a wild card right as the game is about to begin to generate the maximum amount of hype. Your only hint is as follows: look through the sky to find the pure purpose of the school. The tense and saturated battlefield stirred at Mr. Noral's cryptic words. Now begin! And cutting the tension with the grand arc of his hand, Mr. Noral releases at last. There's no time to dawdle on Mr. Noral's riddle. Almost immediately, Trish explodes into action with Lerona and me following close behind. Crossing up the opponents that had advanced attack. He weaves an oblique pattern through the enemy formation and crashes aggressively against the defenses. Pop! Clipping up one of the defenders that moves forward to meet him. This opened up an opportunity for Leron to follow up and pop the balloon. One defender left maintaining the red team's flag, while the stockpile of creativity had guarded an unwise choice. Though the name of the game is Capture the Flag, in this version a flag is only worth 10 balloons. Given enough time and personnel, you can pop all of the team balloons if you get attack the stockpile, making it far much more valuable objective. Charge the stockpile, says Adelise. I order an audacious stars to make advantage of our lightning fast for each of the enemy defenses. Diving deep into the heart of the enemy camp, we eliminate the final defender by dragging him into the pincer while he hastily returns to intercept us from his post on the flag. Pop as many of the stockpile balloons as you can. Just as Trish reaches for an enemy balloon, though something strange happens. A rod extends from the cluster of red balloons, lightly tapping Trish on the side. Like a sprung trap, a hand erupts from within, scattering the balloons in its wake. Do you know this song? Who is what? What do you mean? Which song do you love? I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. Like a sprung trap, a hand erupts from within, scattering the balloons in its wake. Catching up or directing its momentum in a practiced ease, it drives straight into the ground. It was Arena, but just as he last saw out to finish him. Yeah! Lerona manages to heave him out of the way before collapsing to the ground herself. Crap, I had predicted Arena would be on the base defense. Why hadn't I considered the possibility of an ambush? Our offensive momentum had stalled completely in the face of our veritable opponent. You shall not pass! You shall not pass! I get the feel of Gandalf from Arena now. With the declaration conveying absolute conviction, Arena pounds a cane into the ground. A light touch with that thing was all she needed to confirm the position and take me down. Wow, she's Gandalf. That Triss had survived was a miracle. Well, I'm gonna go get some water for myself and drink it while the game is going on. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Till then, enjoy the song that is going on.
Want your audio is 1.1.
No, Ant. Who is Ant? How am I supposed to know everybody? No matter how I looked at it, we were thoroughly outmatched. I think I should change the background music. It's the same for like 2 videos. I don't want this to happen, so don't let me change it. I will just add a whole folder to it, I guess. That would be better, right? YTBGM. Open all of it. Yep, all of it. Why can't I just add all of them? Okay, let's just keep this one for now. Export live. Change the song. Alright, done. Is it fine now? It's good? Alright, this is fine. How long has it been? 38 minutes? Roblox YouTuber with 2 million subscribers. I don't know him. I don't watch Roblox. Alright. Alright. Fine, yeah, okay. Great. Alright. Fine, okay. Alright. Yes, I do not watch Roblox. I do not watch specific games. Taking Arena head-on wasn't an option, and it wouldn't be long before the other defenders acquired the new balloons and reinforced her, turning this into a losing battle. Retreat and go for the flag, said Adelise. Recalling we had eliminated this card, I shouted our team to redirect our effort. But Arena is the first to react to my order, dashing forward to catch us. Her rod chases after Trish and Verona as I desperately try to scramble around her. They can't get away with our help. Eyeing Arena's movement, I circle around to get an angle for her on her back before lunging forward with deliberate and loud thump. Huh? What? Yeah, reacting with lightning speed, Arena swivels around and checks my motion, her rod hovering mere inches from my chest. It was no exaggeration to say that the radius around Arena's person was a no man's land. If I had misjudged distance and stopped by and ensured I'd be a goner right now. Realizing Christian Verona had used the distraction to peel off, I promptly disengage as well and make a run for the flag. Ruby 1, now! Literally Arena's quite panic signal, I hastily grab the red flag and start to fall back with the rest of the strike team. Watch out, 8! Before we can even fear the enemy's camp though, a blur movement fills the corner of my eye. Thanks to Lerona's warning, I managed to duck just as the foot sails through the air and threatened to lop off my head. Tchah! It was Kalia with a customary lack of chill. Utilizing her trademark speed, she had rotated back to defend in the blink of an eye. And as Kalia advances to follow up her way, Trish jumps to intervene, tumbling into the ground with her in the process. At that moment, two red team members swoop up from behind to try to finish Trish off as he grapples with Kalia on the ground. Lerona cuts to shield him, but it's clear he's outnumbered. The red team's base defense had covered and was attacking from behind, with the red offense cutting us off from the front and red defense pressuring us from behind. We were completely surrounded. Go aid, we'll hold them off, said Lerona, grasping that we can't avoid taking casualties. I abandon my teammates and take off at speed. I keep my eyes peeled as I approach our flag, holding ground when the capture can be solidified if I manage to make it. That's when I perceive people closing in on me from both flanks at once. It was the rest of the red team's assault squad. Judging that they grabbed me before I had made it back home, I due to the side at the last moment, causing them to skid off course. They quickly regained balance after resuming the pursuit of me though. There's no way I can outrun them while living encumbered by this flag and I'm still too far away. At this rate my comrades' sacrifices will be in vain. Just as the duo leaves me too, though a strong gust blows past my face. A figurehead had placed itself between me and the encroaching enemies, actually laying one out and stopping the other dead in its tracks. It was Nolita. The opponent in her grasp crumbles spectacularly as she overpowers him, allowing the other two in command to neutralize the arrested enemy's balloons. It looks like she made the decision to abandon base defense to conversion and secure the flag. Verona and Trish are down, says Lenny. The red team is mobilizing to launch a counterattack, says Annabelle. We'll hold them back. Hurry, Aid. Nodding quietly at Nolita's back, I waste no time in leaving my companions behind, placing my trust in them as they strand their ground. Upon arriving at our flag holding area, I plant the enemy's flag into the ground and shout out, "Red flag capture complete!" The blue team has successfully captured the red team's flag, said Mr. Narao. As stipulated in the rules, I will now proceed to pop 10 of the balloons in the red team's stockpile. As I turn back to confirm the situation, I feel my jaw dropping in disbelief at what I see. Kalia was hurtling down the battlefield at breakneck speed, which wasn't unusual in itself. It was the fact that certain someone was sitting behind her that defied all expectation. That's Nolita, please. That is definitely Nolita. Ruby 1 commencing delivery of the package. Quite 2 o'clock, get him, Marina, says Kalia. Planting her feet, Kalia uses her body as a fulcrum to pivot and swing her package out of her. With one hand gripping Kalia's dangling sleeve, Arena reaches out with her rod to confirm Lemmy's location before sweeping his legs out from under him with blinding swiftness. Then after pulling Kalia to land the killing stomp, Arena lets Kalia propel her to the next target in a deadly dance that rapidly mows down the rest of Nolita's best defense team. It's like something lifted straight out of a nightmare. The freedom that Kalia's slack sleeve offered in conjunction with her blazing speed had allowed for a scenario I had never imagined, the rapid deployment of Arena on the front lines. Capturing the flag and resetting to neutral would have granted us a war of attrition where the red team would be pressured to commit disadvantageous offenses. But we had expended too many resources in pursuit of that objective. They were employing their most powerful asset at optimal times while we were still weak from our bliss gambit. This Kalia Arena delivery combo was a perfect counter-offensive for finishing our overextension. Looking over our stockpile, I can catch sight of Tris and Lerona attempting to tie on new balloons. But the two Red Defense members from before had followed them and were popping balloons left and right as they attempted to revive. "We're getting camped," said Lerona. With a yelp, Lerona dives out of the way as Kalina and Arena arrive to capitalize on the red team's tally. As the only one alive, I could only watch on powerlessly as the red team ignored our flag and went straight for the throat. When Nolita and her team returned to try and receive, Lerona and Tris managed to slip out with balloons and rejoin me. But even then, we don't have the forces to retake our lost ground. Contending with this unstoppable Kalia Arena juggernaut was daunting enough, but we also had numbers to disadvantage. What should we do? The hope seemed to be fading from Lerona's eyes, but giving up now wasn't an option. We are abandoning base. Wipe out the stockpile. If we can't defend, then we'll just have to strike back. Red had committed all their resources to an all-out offensive, so their own stockpile was wide open. Responding to a crippling counter-attack with a counter-attack of our own was a desperate measure, but it was the only option we had right now. Nodding at me grimly, the blue strike team takes off to clean up the rest of the balloons in the red stockpile. On the way, encountered two red offense members that Nalita had previously subdued. They wisely keep their distance, opting instead to regroup with the rest of the team. When we arrived to manage the finish of the job quickly, with 10 having already been eliminated from our flag capture, but even then the situation looked bleak. With both stockpiles exhausted and all objectives rendered obsolete, the red team turns their fangs on us. The odds were an overwhelming 3 versus 6, with the red team being at full power. Taking full advantage of the numbers, the red team spreads out in a fan formation, seizing in comprehensive control of the battlefield as the game enters its final phase. Slowly but surely they'll press our diminutive crew into a corner with safe and systematic skirmishes, leaving us no chance to fight back. Though we were managing to ward off the combined attacks of Kalia's offense team and Arena's defense team, we were going tired of the continued harass. We had no relief options compared to the red team, who could alternate fresh bodies to keep up the siege. "It's useless aid," says Kalia. "Your team's morale has fallen too low. You cannot win." Kalia taunts us as we gradually run out of space to back up. But surrender was not an option. Even if we had to crawl, we will never give up. There's still a way. We just need to find the trump card. I tried to rally my comrades behind the final shot of hope, but exhaustion was beginning to creep into even my voice. "Ha! Find it if you can. Even if such a thing actually existed, there's no way to save us from these odds." Laughing like a despotic tyrant, Kalia continues to constrict her forces around us. Gah! Lerona cries out in fatigue as she manages to escape her life after warding off a pincer attack on our flanks. One last thing before we begin. There is a trump card hidden somewhere on the battlefield. Tristan wakes up, keeping busy. Tris tracks himself off the ground after being driven back by Tris's 2-man charge. Whoever discovers his trump card will be granted a powerful advantage. It's just repeating the things that he had said before. "Isn't there anything we can do?" said Adelise. Time seems to slow to a crawl as I close my eyes, letting the tension leak from my body with slow exhaustion. An unending cycle of being broken down over and over again, no matter how many times I try to stand back up. Giving up before this whole situation would make the natural thing to do. There's no way out of this. Nobody will blame me for succumbing to this flawless thoughts. But even then, there's a way. I choose to struggle. A heat begins to build up behind my shut eyelids as I voice my belief with unwavering conviction. Amidst the darkness stretching out before me, a single golden light was shining. Reaching out, I seize that golden radiance in my hand and force my eyes open. I see it! The moment vision returns to me, I perceive the blue team's stockpile at the far left of the battlefield and the blue flag at the far right. The path forward was clear. "To me, blue team!" Lerona and Christian are surprised. I figured out what the trump card is. Billowing the firmest words I can muster, I motion to our left the direction of the blue team's stockpile. "Break through to that location at all costs. Hope flickers in the eyes of my comrades as they are sown the light beyond the edge of despair they've been teetering for so long. Christian is surprised. For the motherland, says Lerona, summoning every last ounce of strength left in the bodies, the last remaining blue team member starts forward with desperate ferocity. What? Stop them, said Kalia. Don't let them get there, no matter what. Surprised by a sudden fierce resistance, Kalia orders the red team to pull back inside there. Back into formation to prevent us from sweeping through. Wow, Chris. Barreling through the outstretched arms of multiple red interceptors, Chris penetrates deep into enemy territory before finally being snuffed out. Tippa! Ura! She falls down as well with a valiant cry. Lerona scatters a resulting pile up and cry carries us even deeper before succumbing to the ravenous hordes. However, as for me, instead of continuing down the path we had carved, I made a sharp right and beeline for the blue flag. A feint? Though it pains me to use my comrades as a decoy, there's no better way to deceive your enemies than deceiving your allies. Catching on to my diversion, Galia, who had been laying back to serve as a sweeper, breaks out into all-out sprint to cut me off. At this rate, he'll pluck me off from the flag in time, if only barely. But that's fine. Just when our paths are about to overlap, abruptly we make another sharp strike, letting us skid out of control by herself in front of the blue flag. A double fiend, said Aaron. Okay, we received a new character. They had not made any other character other than the other three in the blue team, and they had only 2 players in the red team had definitive characters till now, but now all 3 have the characters. Yep. Mustering all of my remaining strength, I raced down the sideline to my true objective, a bystander watching over the game for the midfield. Ha! Ha! I figured out, Mr. Narao. Panting heavily, I doubled over and pressed my cards on my knees as I tried to catch my breath. Pull, Kalina, stand down. Mr. Narao gestures behind me as the sound of footsteps immediately converged on our location. Hey, do you say you finally figured out? In that case, what is the trump card? After taking a moment to gulp down some air, I opened my mouth to speak. Look to the sky to find the purpose of the school. Taken as a whole, it leads nowhere, but when broken down, it all comes together. First, purpose of the school. I tried to think of something unique to the school at first, but when it comes down to the purpose of every school can be boiled down to one thing, that is, learning. Indeed, it is as you say, sometimes the closer you look, the less you see. After having the first out of my mouth confirmed by Mr. Naraos, continue. Next, look through the sky to find, on a representational level, what would you need to search through the sky. The first thing that comes to mind is wings. With those 2 conclusions, deriving the final clue from pure comes naturally. Something that symbolizes purity, for example the color white. Narao can be interpreted to mean white wings of learning. If it's difficult for you to understand, you may refer to me as Mr. Narao for now. White wings of learning, the meaning of your name, Mr. Narao. The trump card is you, says Adelise. With not a change in expression, Mr. Narao closes his eyes at my answer. I must say, the stunt you pulled to concentrate and dissipate the red team's formation was impressive, but instead of confirming my answer, he slowly circles around behind me, begins untying my balloon. Could it be I was mistaken? With a crestfallen murmur, I dropped my gaze to the ground. Rather than my answer, though, Mr. Narao posed a question of his own. Tell me, child, do you know what a DSX machinima? Oh, bruh, why is a reference to another game? DSX Machina? Dude, what? Puzzle, I tried to recall when I had read about it in Mother's collection. God from the machine, which refers to a flawed device in which an inextricable situation is solved by sudden intervention. Could it be? I feel my eyes widen as I look up, just in time to see Mr. Narao tying my balloon to his back. Call for me, and I shall come. With a flourish of his arm, Mr. Narao casts his coat to the wind and steps onto the battlefield. Rejoice, blue team! I have come to avenge your fallen! With an otherworldly roar, Mr. Narao surges forward with demonic speed. In the blink of an eye, he stretched 2 of the red team's offense balloons to pieces before turning to bear down on Kalia. What in the world? Fall back, Kalia, you can't take him! Quick on the uptake, Arena orders Kalia to turn tail. But before she can get far, Mr. Narao catches up and ruptures her fragile air vessel's neck, signifying her life with an impossibly swift and accurate strike. They think he could cut out speed Kalia to such a degree? Even reading her attempts to juke him off, it was unbelievable. Go, Mr. Narao, says Annabelle. Whoo! Okay, there's still hope, says Lorna. It's time to tip the scales, said Adelise. Mr. Narao! No longer was the blue team squealing at the prospect of imminent defeat. Emboldened by the grand reversal, we cry out in jubilation as our fighting spirits are restocked. This is for my teacher's pride. Letting loose a blood-curdling howl, Mr. Narao sweeps through the bewildered red team as they scramble to stay alive. By introducing a single new element, we had completely turned the table and regained the initiative. Was this the fury of a teacher that had been forced to endure helium-induced humiliation in front of his own class? An irrevocable death spiral. Utter decimation. Before long, only one red team member remained standing. That's your Arena. Father, you are acting childish. Arena's stoic figure stood as the last obstacle before Narao's careless advance. Come and strike down this childish father of yours, then. If it's you, then there's no need to hold back, coldly informing that she will not back down. Arena manipulates the mechanism on her ironic rod that smashes it under the ground. Sliding round, the rod abruptly extends to the length exceeding her full height. Dauntless and unmovable, Arena brandishes the uninhibited tool before her, adopting to the whole stance of her seasoned lancer. What's going on? Says Demi. You can do that? Everything rested on this duel between Arena and Mr. Narao, dripping suspense, bleeding tension as the two hardened combatants squared off against each other in a climatic gust through the battlefield, thrusting the chilled air. Narao goes on. The moment the frozen air disturbed, Mr. Narao lunges forward, precipitating the beginning of the end. Ha! Said Arena. Arena's quick to react, bringing her rod to bear with breathtaking speed. With a flurry of strikes, she rolls up Mr. Narao's advance, forcing him to stake back and block his shins and forearms. Pushing Mr. Narao off balance, Arena lifts her rod high into the air and brings down with a deafening force. Ka-thunk! But he managed to spin away at the last moment, greatly escaping the devastating attack. The ground where Arena's whiffle strike has struck the ground, there was a massive gash in the earth as if it had been plowed with a cannonball. The Clash could only gape in disbelief. Nope. Content to sit safely on the sidelines, I shake my head gravely on the ongoing clash. Considering she had the stripped Mother Earth as a new anus, the amount of control it would have taken to lightly nudge someone like she had been doing until now was inconceivable.